Hey everybody, welcome back to The Stuff of Legend. My name is D-Lo and I've got another video for you guys. Today I'm going to be going over a lot of the news that we have talked about. I'm going to try to give you guys as much of the gist as possible. Just read the headlines, maybe a couple of lines from the articles. I will link all of the articles in the description so that you guys can do the homework yourself. You guys can check those out. I will show you those articles very briefly. It won't cover in detail because I want to try to keep it as quick as possible. But I also want to let you guys know what is up. And there is quite a bit up, as you can see from this thumbnail. Lots of news. I'm going to cover 7 different topics, and then we can cover all of your comments and questions at the end of the video. I will answer every single one. So you guys, buckle up. Let's go ahead and jump right into this video. I'm really excited. So first of all, I want to show you guys this article here coming from We Got This Covered. Now, quick thing to note, there's a lot of fan sites and sites that are maybe smaller media groups that are up and coming, maybe homegrown, as one would say. Now, this happens to be one of those. We Got This Covered. Now, I respect what they do, but at the same time, they are notorious for predicting a great many things that end up falling to the wayside. And I think maybe it comes from hearing a rumor and running articles based on that rumor as if it were true, as opposed to just saying, hey guys, we're not certain that this is going to happen. So I want to give you guys the quick disclaimer that this has been reported by a number of different other sites that are much more reputable than this one. But this all stems from this right here. So it all comes down to We Got This Covered has said another thing yet again. So they're saying here Armie Hammer is reportedly being eyed to play the DCEU Superman. And you'll find a lot of other articles saying that he is going to take over as Superman, or Henry Cavill is out and it is now going to be Armie Hammer. But let's go ahead and just see what they're saying, okay guys? So it says here, I give them credit here because they do at least admit this. They say no one really knows what's going on with Superman. Even though that's not entirely true, at least they're letting their readers know, hey, take this with a grain of salt, okay? So they're saying here the embodiment of hope, Superman, who's most recently been played by Henry Cavill in the DCEU, has drawn up a lot of controversy with Zack Snyder, since Zack Snyder's character took a much darker path. And following the critical and financial failures of both Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, and Justice League, Cavill's time with the cape has appeared to be on the chopping block. Now, this is, again, another rumor that people have gone with because Henry Cavill has been busy and no directors or writers have stepped up to the plate to take on Man of Steel 2. That does not mean that he is out. I've covered this on my channel a number of times, as you guys already know. But what this does mean is that we're not going to see Superman probably in the DCEU for a while. Now, this could change. I've covered recently that J.J. Abrams looks to have positioned himself in a way that he'll probably be taking on maybe the Green Lantern Corps and then probably Man of Steel 2 if James Gunn doesn't step up to the plate. But this is what we're hearing right now. They're saying, although it still remains to be seen what ultimately will happen, according to sources close to We Got This Covered. This is always what they say. According to sources close to We Got This Covered, meaning them, they said the same ones who told us Tom Welling was returning for Crisis on Infinite Earths and Nightwing will debut in Titan Season 2, and that Viola Davis is returning for the Suicide Squad, all of which are confirmed. Yes, that's true, but again, even 3 things that have come true compared to the vast number of things that they do claim, you still got to take it with a grain of salt, guys. So I'm just telling you, don't put all your eggs in this basket here. It says Armie Hammer is high on Warner Bros. List of actors who could possibly take over the Clark Kent role if Henry doesn't return. It's unclear, however, if he's the front runner. And so a lot to do about this, but what it says here, the gist is that someone, a source of theirs that seems to know a bit about what's going on in DC, has said that Warner Brothers has a list of actors that possibly could maybe someday replace Henry Cavill if that time should come. It doesn't even say that there is a front runner. It doesn't say that Armie Hammer is the front runner, but that Armie Hammer is on a list of actors that Warner Brothers has in mind in case they need to replace Henry Cavill. So if you see this running around on the internet, this does not in any way, shape, or form mean that Henry Cavill is done as Superman. In fact, all of the evidence has pointed to the contrary. with with him still posting several posts on social media regarding Superman. His agent and manager have said that he still has the exact same working relationship with Warner Brothers as he did before. Same as the executives at Warner Brothers have said the same, saying that their working relationship with Henry Cavill has not changed, and they love working with Henry Cavill, and they don't have plans to not work with Henry Cavill. So we've heard all the evidence so far, and all we have to go on is a rumor from someone that is unidentified, of course. I mean, I don't expect them to out all of their sources, but it says a source close to We Got This Covered. Now, yes, they've gotten a couple of things right, but there has been plenty wrong, and this website specifically is notorious for getting stuff wrong. So I'll just leave that there, and we can move on from there. But what do you guys think about this? Do you think that there's any validity to what is being reported from We Got This Covered? Do you think that we should be worried, or maybe starting to anticipate a big shift in what is going to be coming with Justice League, maybe Justice League Part 2, Man of Steel 2? Do you think that's ever going to happen, or are they just going to full-on reboot? What do you guys think is going to happen? Talk to me in the comments. Do the research yourself with the links in the description, and I would love to have this conversation with you. Next, let's go to the next topic of the day. The next topic of the day is Michael Rosenbaum was contacted by CW and the Crisis of Infinite Earths team for the mega crossover, just like we saw last time when I did this massive news update for you guys. We talked about Tom Welling. We talked about Erica Durance, both of them coming back from Smallville. We knew that this was coming. We knew that they were going to reach out to Michael Rosenbaum. There was no chance that they didn't at least say, hey, man, can you be in this thing? Now, we got to say, give a little bit of props to both parties here. Props to Michael Rosenbaum and props to the studio, because the studio reached out, and let's take a look at what Michael Rosenbaum has to say. But he clearly felt the need to address this with the fans. So let's go ahead and click into this image. And let's see if I can blow this up for you guys. I don't know if it will. Okay, here we go. It says, friends, many of you have tweeted and asked me, Michael Rosenbaum, about joining the Infinite crossover. I can't tell you how much this means to me. I'll just be straight up about it. Warner Bros. Called my agents Friday afternoon when I was in Florida visiting my grandfather in a nursing home. Their offer? No script, no idea what I'm doing, no idea when I'm shooting, basically no money, and the real kick in the pants, we have to know now. And my simple answer was pass. I think you can understand why. I hope this answers all of your questions. Lovingly, Rosenbaum. So let's go ahead and break this down. I want to read this one more time, and I'll just kind of give you my quick thoughts. If you guys haven't already pieced together what this looks like, it basically says that, yes, Crisis of Infinite Earths wants Rosenbaum to be part of this, but they didn't give him any reason to be there. Now, if you guys don't know, as an actor, your entire career is based on what you do and choices that you make to maybe avoid roles you would not like to get stuck in. There are certain actors that we can think of that have played certain roles that maybe they regretted down the line. The first one that comes to my mind is Ryan Reynolds taking the role of Green Lantern. Now, I don't think that he actually would have chosen to not do that, because that's where he met his beautiful wife, Blake Lively, and they now have kids together, they have a life together, and there has been good from that, as well as it wasn't a horrendous film. It got a lot of the lore wrong, and it clearly got Parallax wrong. It didn't understand many of the characters, but there was some highlights there, and I think Ryan Reynolds was maybe one of those. But I will say, as an actor, you do want to avoid certain things if you can. You want to avoid bad press. You want to avoid a bad role. And if you don't know what the role is you're taking, how could you just blindly say yes? Now, Michael Rosenbaum is no spring chicken. He has been working for quite some time now, and he's well experienced and obviously well loved. We all love him from his work on Smallville. He's in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. James Gunn has told him he's going to have more roles for him in the MCU if he sticks around. There's going to be plenty of opportunities coming for him down the pipe, and why would he want to jump into something where he literally has no idea what's going to happen? And he's seen the way that they've treated Superman on Supergirl. He was jobbed. He was the jobber for Supergirl. They basically stepped all over him. There's been plenty of of characters that they did not get right. And why would he want to risk tarnishing his perfect record as Lex? He was nothing but gold as Lex, and believe me, I am the #1 advocate saying please put him in this crossover. I want him back. I want to see more Lex. He's my favorite character. I love Smallville. But let's just read this one more time because I want to break this up really quick. So let's start at the WB part. He says, Warner Brothers called my agents Friday afternoon while I was in Florida visiting my grandfather in a nursing home. So obviously there's he's visiting family. It's family that is maybe very life dependent. Someone that, is up there in years, maybe does not have a lot more time left with. This could be a very emotional experience for Michael Rosenbaum. If you've listened to his podcast, family is a very sensitive issue for him. He obviously is taking time out of his busy day, busy life, the podcast he does, to reconnect with some family members, just catch up with them, be there for them, be there with them. And I'm sure that's very touching, very meaningful for everyone involved. And he gets the call probably from his people after they've been called by Warner Brothers. And they're saying, look, here's the deal. We tried to negotiate with Warner Brothers, but all we're getting is that they said, we can't offer you a script. It's under lock and key. For some reason, it's super, super secretive. No script. There's also, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what role you're playing. We don't even know if you're playing Lex. We don't know what you're doing. There's no tie. He could have been playing Wally West. As some of us know, he voiced Wally West in the Justice League animated series. So you don't know what he's doing. He doesn't know how to prep for this thing. It also says you don't know when you're shooting. He doesn't know when to schedule this thing. He's got podcasts. He's got friends. He's got a social life. He's got other projects I'm sure he's working on. Maybe vocal roles or things like that. He is a busy guy, and you can't just say, we can't tell you when you're working, but you need to work for us. That doesn't make any sense. And then also it says there's basically no money, which means they probably were just going to pay to fly him out there. Maybe. It doesn't sound like there was any money involved, really. Maybe some compensation for travel expenses, but it doesn't sound like much. And then it says, and the real kick in the pants, I'm gonna rephrase that for the audience. It says, we have to know now. That means, look, you don't know the script, you don't know what role you're doing, you don't know when you're shooting, there's not really going to be any pay, and we need an answer exactly right now. Call us back right now. And he says, look, man, there's no way I can take that. Like, I'd have to think about it even if I knew what I was getting into. I mean, I'd have to probably go home, look it over, work out my schedule. You know what I mean? And he can't even work out his schedule because he doesn't know when he's shooting. So this sucks because I want Rosenbaum in there. But it looks, guys, he said it himself. He can't be in there with no information or compensation whatsoever. So it looks like we're not going to get Lex Luthor in this crossover after all. If he was going to be playing Lex anyway. We do know that there will be a Lex Luthor, but it's the Lex Luthor from Supergirl. And so that will be the Lex Luthor in this crossover, not Michael Rosenbaum. So that is what we're getting. That is all I wanted to say on this topic. So you guys tell me what you think about this down below in the comments. I want to hear from you guys, and let's talk about this. Check this out. Link in the description if you want to check out these tweets, get a closer look, see for yourself, reply to Michael Rosenbaum, let him know you love him, and let him know if you think it was a good decision or if you really, really want him to do it anyway. Those types of things I'm sure will be appreciated by him as he loves his fans. Now, let's go on to the next topic of the day. The next topic of the day is the original Jurassic Park cast is returning for Jurassic World 3. Now, guys, I saw the first Jurassic World, and I did not see Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. I have not yet seen that, so I know there's some spoilers. I have seen the 8-minute short. There is an 8-minute short. I'm not going to cover that on this one, but I want you guys to know that it's out there. They did a movie, legit, directed by Colin Trevorrow, the actual director. Short, like I think it's like 8 minutes or something. You can watch that on YouTube or on their website. But yeah, there's an 8-minute short that follows, kind of spoils the ending of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom if you want to do that. I've already seen that. I'm really excited. This is even bigger news. So if you guys already saw, Jeff Goldblum had a very small role in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, as I know from research. I have not seen the film, but I've also been told that that we also have, Laura Dern If that, I believe that's her name. I'm sorry if I'm getting that incorrect. I believe it's Laura Dern. But Laura Dern is returning in the role as well. And now we also have Sam Neill. So Sam Neill was not in the last film. He was not in any of the Jurassic World films. But now we are getting all three actors from the original Jurassic Park trilogy coming into Jurassic World 3. And guys, this time, we've been told by the director it is not a cameo, but they are major roles. They will be heavily involved in the story. And this, I think, is a huge win. This is a big, big, solid win. And it feels very much like what they're doing with Star Wars, kind of renaissancing, bringing in some of those characters. I hope they're not just going to kill off these characters. I mean, maybe one of them dies, which would suck. That would suck. But it would not be outside of the realm of what we would expect from a Jurassic Park, Jurassic World film, because people die. People get eaten by dinosaurs, and that is why we want to watch these things. So, if this is going to happen, at least in the last of these three trilogy, or the trilogy, if it's going to remain a trilogy, will be involving some of our favorite characters in this franchise. I'm so excited, but there's not really a lot to say here. It was just announced that this will in fact happen, and that there will be some updates coming soon revolving. I think it was the rides and a lot of the theme park attractions and stuff. So there's some more there you guys can check out. I didn't want to stick around on this subject too long, but the other article I will cite down below is the article from Collider. And so this one also, I believe this is the one that broke the news. And it says here, Colin Trevorrow has found a way to bring back the original cast of Jurassic Park, as the director announced that Laura Dern, Sam Neill, and Jeff Goldblum are set to reprise their iconic roles in Jurassic World 3. And it won't be a small role. It's supposed to be a large role. So it says here, and not only will Dern, Neill, and Goldblum all be back, but they'll all have sizable roles in the sequel. So that's basically the gist of what I wanted to share with you guys. There's plenty more in this article you can dig through. Do that on your own time. I don't want to waste too much time going forward. So you guys, tell me what you think about these actors. Are you excited for these characters to come back? Do you want to see some of these guys get eaten by dinosaurs? What is it that you guys are all about for dinosaurs and big monster films? I want to hear from you. Let's talk. And leave it in the comments. Let's keep moving. Next up, this next one, I got to warn you guys. The next one will have some spoiler. So this one here does have a little bit of spoilery content. If you have not seen Spider-Man Far From Home, this is a fair warning. Just go ahead and maybe skip a couple of minutes. I'm not going to drag too long on this. In fact, I'm not going to drag very long at all. But I will flash to something that I want to show you guys very, very, very briefly. So Spider-Man Far From Home, most people have already seen it. Anyone who is going to see it who hasn't seen it already is probably about to see it. It's coming out on Blu-ray on October 1st, and we're almost there, guys. But there's some new content that they teased for the Blu-ray, and that is out and available to the public right now. So if you guys want, join me here. I'm going to, again, spoiler content. This is the last warning, all right? So we have here, there is a new hero announced by Sony, and it's awesome and it's fun, and I want to show you guys what it's going to be. So it says here, with Spider-Man Far From Home now on digital and arriving on 4K Ultra HD Combo Pack, Blu-ray Combo Pack, and DVD October 1st, Sony Pictures Home Entertainment has unveiled a new publicity stunt built around the movie's shocking end credits cameo. And then it says here, the Daily Bugle. And so I don't want to, oh wait, hang on. I think I might have jumped right in here. So I don't want to jump ahead too far, but it says here, basically this, guys, now that the spoiler warning's out of the way, let's go ahead and pound through this real quick. It says, the Daily Bugle's J. Jonah Jameson, who is once again played by J.K. Simmons, who you guys would know from the original Spider-Man trilogy, with Sam Raimi and Tobey Maguire. This is huge. If you guys saw the movie, this was probably one of your highlights of the film, was the end credits sequence where it shows J. Jonah Jameson, and he starts to put Spider-Man Peter Parker on blast in a very Alex Jonesy podcast kind of way, which is super fun because it's so fitting for how his character acts towards Spider-Man. It's very powerful, very exciting, exhilarating, and it's really cool because this next part right here, pay attention to this. Sony has launched the dailybugle.net, which is in fact a real site run by the muckraking, Spidey-hating Jameson, where he posts his many rants about the wall crawler while heaping praise on the real superhero Mysterio. And then it says here, watch J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson plugging the dailybugle.net in our exclusive video above. So then it goes here, and then it'll show off this video. So I'm going to go ahead and play this for you guys. I'm going to see if I could turn that trailer audio up just a touch, all right? So you may or may not be able to hear this very well, but just go with me on this, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and play this.
Hi, I'm looking for the new iPhone.
Yeah, I forget that ad.
Best Buy's got it.
And you've got all the major carriers?
We got to sit
Plus,
through the
we
ad.
even activate it for you.
So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and
One-stop
turn that one down for a second while they're playing this. But it's really, really fun. Check this out because it's actually a website you can interact with. So I'm really excited to do this. I'm going to get the app. Watch this.
J. Jonah Jameson here.
Yes.
Spider-Man, a psychopath wielding powers he has no right to possess, trying to pass himself off as a hero. Well, let me tell you something, kid. You're no hero. Mysterio, that's a hero. You are a criminal, a miscreant, a masked marauder, a menace.
He's a menace.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Dude, there it is. And so that's so fun, dude. For me, that's so nostalgic. It's amazing. And if you guys saw Far From Home and you saw the end credits, this is really cool. So if you guys do jump over to the dailybugle.net, which is in the description, I put this link in the description so you guys can jump there as well. This will probably be the most fun you'll have on this video. I'm not even lying. But it says here, the true hero, and then it shows this video, but there's tons of like these articles.
I'm looking for the new iPhone.
Oh, sorry, hang on, let me just go ahead
Best
and kill
Buy's
that.
got it.
And you've got all the major carriers?
Plus,
Sorry, I
we
got
even
this
activate it
audio
for you.
playing in the
One-stop
background.
shopping.
Kill that for a second. Okay, so we've got here, visit the dailybugle.net, and then it has articles like Night Monkey, Foreign Hero, or yet another masked menace. And then it goes, and you can click on these articles. There, you can actually read these, and it's gonna post. It's actually, they said they're gonna upload a lot. And there's links to the Facebook, to the Twitter, to the Instagram, and you can sign up for the website so you can get these news blasts. How cool is this? This is like when I was playing the Spider-Man PlayStation 4 game. If you guys didn't play that, probably the best Spider-Man storyline you've ever experienced. And you get to play it, and it plays out like movies with the cutscenes and the gameplay. It's amazing. It really is. But what happens is, while you're web swinging through the city after a certain point in the story, J. Jonah Jameson pops up, and you hear him blasting through the radio, and you see his little clip, and he's doing kind of like this. It's like a podcast type of a blog, or like a YouTube channel type of thing, and it's so fun. So this to me is a direct pull from not just the original source material, which is amazing, and not just the original trilogy where he actually got to play this role in the original trilogy. Now he's back playing this role, but in an updated, more modern way. That's very much kind of like a Young Turks or Ben Shapiro type of YouTube news vibe, which is super fun. I really, really like what they're doing here. I am 100% going to subscribe and follow all of these media because this is like the most exciting thing I've seen all day. So you guys tell me what you guys think down below. Enough of the spoiler content. I don't want to hang too much on this, but let's go ahead and jump right into the next one. So the next topic of the day, guys, is Jonah Hill in talks to play the Riddler in the Batman. Now, I want to preface this. The headline is different than the actual news. So I want to go ahead and preface that so you guys can be prepared. The links are in the description so you guys can either follow along with me here on the screen, or you can do the research by yourself on your own down below in the comments, or in the description where there's the link, so you guys can do that. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at this, because the headline reads that he's in talks to play the Riddler, but let's see what the news actually says. The Jonah Hill is in talks to play a villain in the Batman opposite Robert Pattinson. So, that right there is the facts. We know this to be 100% true, and it says, and. This is the conjunction, guys, so grammar matters. When you see an and, that's often the conjunction of two separate sentences or two separate points in a sentence. So we know this to be true. We already knew about Jonah Hill in talks to play a villain in the Batman. That was a fact. What we are learning here is a source tell. So whenever you see this and a source tells, that means it is not 100% confirmed. So, and then you're going to see the word speculated too. So this is something that you have to pay attention to. This means take it with a grain of salt. It's not confirmed. It means it is rumored. It is speculated. It is something that is coming from a source that has not been officially announced. Okay. So even though it could be very likely, obviously Collider is it's a pretty credible source, but at the same time, it's not confirmed. So don't go running around saying he is in fact Riddler. He is in fact Penguin, because we don't know yet. But here's what it says. Jonah Hill is in talks to play a villain in the Batman opposite Robert Pattinson. And a source tells Collider, this is the rumor, that the 2-time Oscar nominee will be playing none other than the Riddler, not the Penguin, as has been roundly speculated. So it's saying that a lot of fans have been wanting him to play the Penguin. This makes a lot of sense to me. I've even fan cast him as the Penguin in recent days. But what we're seeing here is that Collider's secret source is saying that we think it's the Riddler. We're hearing that no, it might actually be the Riddler, not the Penguin. So this is hearsay from a source, and it says Matt Reeves is directing the comic book movie, which just added Jeffrey Wright as Commissioner Gordon. That's a fact. So if you guys didn't already know that, Jeffrey Wright has been cast to play Commissioner Gordon. I think this is a good choice. I think that based on his experience, based on what he is good at playing, I think this will work. I think it'll work just fine. Just so you know, it doesn't automatically mean he's replacing J.K. Simmons, even though J.K. Simmons is working with Sony in what was the MCU, what is now going to be a Sonyverse. He is still, as we know it, on contract with DC and Warner Brothers. So if the continuity is going to be in the Justice League time frame, it's going to be Commissioner Gordon, J.K. Simmons. But in Matt Reeves' separate universe, he has Jeffrey Wright as Commissioner Gordon, which makes sense. You can have two. That's why they still need to find a replacement for Ben Affleck's Batman. Robert Pattinson didn't replace Ben Affleck. It's a separate universe. It's a separate Batman. And so we still are looking for another actor to come and take the place. I vote Scott Adkins, but I know many of you guys don't. Let me know what you think about that down below. I won't get into too much details. You guys go ahead and tell me what you guys think about this below, because there really isn't much more substance than this. After this point, it's literally speculation and just talk. So you guys can go ahead and do the research yourself, follow up more on that, and I will jump to the next topic on the list. Next up, we have... Let me go ahead and reload this. Sometimes you got to reload these things. All right, guys, some really sad news here. Ghost Rider, the drama from Marvel TV, is dead at Hulu. This is very, very sad news for me. I loved Gabriel Luna on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I loved his Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider character. That was the first time I had ever seen the character, even a nerd like me. But I fell in love immediately. I loved his portrayal. I loved his character. I loved the way they did the CGI. The deaths were brutal, but they were also not like out of this world brutal. Like they were brutal, but they kept it PG-13 or TV-14 rather, and it still worked wonderfully. And this is really sad news because they just got announced with a Hellstrom show and a Ghost Rider show. And what we're having here, I'm gonna go ahead and read the first couple lines of this because it addresses what we need to know right out the gate. So it says here, Disney-owned Hulu has opted to scrap its live-action Marvel drama some 4 months after the project was picked up straight to series at the streamer, meaning Hulu. So Disney owns Hulu. Hulu picked up Ghost Rider as a show with Gabriel Luna 4 months ago. That was announced and confirmed. Then, now they're scrapping it. And it says here, sources tell The Hollywood Reporter, which again, this is a very credible source. The only thing that I know that they got wrong was coming out and saying that Henry Cavill is out as Superman. That's the only thing that they got wrong that I'm aware of. I'm sure that they've gotten plenty wrong. They've made retractions, but the only thing that I'm aware of that they got wrong was Henry Cavill's out. Now, they say sources, and by the way, they didn't even say he's out. They say it looks like he's out. And they weren't pinning it 100%, but the whole world ran with that. So it says here, the sources note creative issues stalled the series that was set to feature Gabriel Luna reprising the fan favorite role from ABC's fellow Marvel drama Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. See, that's a mouthful. Basically, it was creative issues that canned the show. And maybe it was they didn't want to go in a similar direction to what he was in the ABC's show. And then maybe Jeff Loeb and a few others were just like, hey, we really need them to work in continuity because it's the same guy, same Ghost Rider. And they were like, no, we don't want to do that. I'm sure that it was probably something along those lines. Ghost Rider evolved around the anti-hero Robbie Reyes, which is consumed by hellfire and supernaturally bound to a demon. Reyes lives on the Texas-Mexico border, and when he unleashes the Rider, he brings vengeance for the innocents he encounters, but struggles to control the power he wields. And so it's really interesting. They get into a lot of these details, talking about like showrunners, executive producers, and again, of course, Marvel TV boss Jeff Loeb. Lots of other details you can check out in the description for yourself, but the gist is clear. Ghost Rider's canceled. I'm sorry, guys. This breaks my heart. I really, really, really wanted to see this, but they didn't say anything about Hellstrom, because Hellstrom, I believe, was also supposed to be on here, and it was actually, I believe it was said it was going to be sticking around. I can't see where they say the Hellstrom right here. Joining Runaways, streamer Howard the Duck, title, his live action miniseries, blah, blah, blah. Sorry, guys, I can't find it. So, oh, wait, no, here it is. Here it is. So it says here, the other show, Hellstrom, is still moving forward. So the source that is saying that it's done, it's over, and that they were the ones that had called it back then, they broke the news, and now we're hearing Ghost Rider's canned. They're also saying Hellstrom's still okay. So I think that has to do with the fact that it was never addressed in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I think that the continuity that was completed in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I believe that these guys don't want those to cross over. I believe they want them to be as separate as possible, even though it's the same. It was going to be the same actor, Gabriel Luna. I think they're just going to go in a different direction and just start doing really, really dark content outside of what we know from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So Hellstrom seems to be okay. We'll see how long that lasts, because I've got a feeling if they're canceling one, the other one is soon to get canned. But there was a very nice response from Gabriel Luna. So let's take a look at what he says. So Gabriel Luna on his Instagram posts this and says, "To everyone who loves Robbie and Ghost Rider, thank you. I've had the time of my life playing those two guys, and I was ready to rock on the new show. The news was surprising, but I've always known that the nature of this business is that until you're there on the day doing the thing, it could still go away. Even then, the next day on the job, it ain't guaranteed. Thanks to Loeb, Marvel, Felipe Smithhart, and everyone who helped bring Robbie to life on the page and the screen. I'm focused now on our promotions for Terminator." And then it says here, "We'll be bringing Terminator Dark Fate to theaters in just over a month. Hope to see everyone there when it opens on the Day of the Dead, November 1st. So that's really exciting. There's still plenty more of Gabriel Luna to be seen. He's a big star now. People love him. Literally in everything he's done, he's been awesome. And so I think it'll be really cool to see where he goes from here, what his next projects are. Maybe he'll join DC. Who knows? But we'll see what is going to happen. Maybe Marvel will wise up and say, you know what? We do want a Ghost Rider, but we're going to keep him, for some reason, TV-14. Now, keep in mind, Supernatural was TV-14, so you can get away with quite a bit TV-14. If you guys haven't seen Supernatural, it's freaking awesome. And they got away with a ton of dark and creepy and scary stuff. But you just have to play it smart. You work it smart so that you maximize everything you can get away with until you can't get away with it. And then that's how you do it. Even Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has already done Ghost Rider. That's where he came from. They did a fantastic job with him there. They could do a fantastic job with him on Disney+. I would hope that that's what we're going to see there. I hope they're just delaying it so that it can kind of coincide with Blade. And then maybe you can get Blade and Ghost Rider around the same time on Disney+. That would be really, really cool. So let me know what you guys think down below. And check out some of these comments too, because like Henry Simmons from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is also weighed in on this. Lots of blue check marks are weighing in to share their thoughts about Gabriel Luna being canned from Ghost Rider, which is sad. Talk about it in the comments, and let's keep moving. Next up on the list, this is the next and final topic we have to talk about today. we have to talk about the big man himself. Kevin Feige is joining Star Wars. So if you guys haven't been following Star Wars, there is plenty to talk about. There's so many fans of Star Wars, myself included. I'm sure many of you guys are also Star Wars nerds. Probably if you've been following my channel, you're probably Star Wars nerds too. But also, so is Kevin Feige. Who doesn't grow up loving Star Wars? A lot of the fans that love Star Wars also love Marvel. A lot of the fans that love Marvel also love Star Wars. In today's day and age, most of those fandoms are completely overlapped anyway. And both of those franchises are under the Mouse House. They're both under Disney. So if they're both under Disney, and we know that they have had meetings together in the past when The Last Jedi started to bomb and started to tank and fans were revolting, even myself, I was very upset with that as well. I thought the movie was really good as a film, but as a Star Wars film, it was hot trash, and it completely disrespected the entire franchise, and how they handled the media and the press was awful too. So I know there's a lot to go into that. I'm sure that it's not entirely just their fault. I know that there's probably a lot of pressure coming from every angle possible to try to please literally everyone on the planet. Very frustrating, I'm sure. But who handles that better than the man himself, Kevin Feige? Kevin Feige is the king of pleasing the fans. And if you need someone's help, I mean, we're talking about Kathleen Kennedy is putting that little, she's putting the the intergalactic USB chip into R2-D2 and saying, "Help me, Kevin Feige, you're my only hope." And then he goes and he shows the hologram, and then it's Kevin Feige sitting there with Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, and they're like wielding the lightsaber, looking at it like this, and they're like, "Oh, what's that?" And then there goes R2-D2 saying, "Hey, here's Kathleen Kennedy," and she's saying, "Help me, Kevin Feige, you're my only hope." They need to revive this franchise, and this is exactly what they plan on doing. And Kevin Feige, spoiler alert, has already said yes. So they asked him, and check it out. Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy is pursuing a new era in Star Wars storytelling, and knowing what a diehard fan Kevin is, it made sense for these two extraordinary producers to work on a Star Wars film together. Walt Disney Studios co-chairman Alan Horn tells Hollywood Reporter, Alan Horn is the authority on all things Disney film. That includes Star Wars, Pixar, Marvel, all film that falls under the umbrella of Disney is Alan Horn. He is the guy. He's Kevin Feige's boss. He's Kathleen Kennedy's boss. So when he's telling you that this is happening, you darn know it's happening. And this is not hearsay, guys. This isn't any of those rumors we were talking about. You don't have to take this with a grain of salt. No. This is happening until Alan Horn says it's not happening. So until we hear again, and he's like, "Hey man, it fell through. Kevin needs more money. It's just not going to work." Then if that's the case, then okay, yeah, that's the word on the deal. But no, Alan Horn says it's a go. So let's see what this is going to expect here. To the surprise of no one, Kevin Feige is a huge Star Wars fan. It might surprise many, however, that this Marvel Studios chief is going to be developing a Star Wars movie as Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy makes new plans for a wave of projects set in the universe, the Hollywood Reporter has learned. So this is big news, guys. First of all, let me just say, I know there's a ton of Kathleen Kennedy haters out there, and believe me, guys, I have my own beefs with Kathleen Kennedy. I think that she's injected way too much into Star Wars. That definitely has no place in Star Wars, does not need to be in Star Wars. And I'm not talking about strong women. Strong women have always been in Star Wars. You can ask any hardcore Star Wars fan, they could list you 30 female characters right out the gate that have either powers or sick weapons or are fan favorites. I'm talking about Mara Jade. I'm talking about Ahsoka Tano. I'm talking about Luminara Unduli. I'm talking about Asajj Ventress. You can keep the list goes on and on and on. Star Wars has always been chock full of strong female, and I didn't even list like Leia or Padme or Ahsoka. We talk about Ahsoka, lots of characters, and I just wanted to say, all of the problems that maybe come from Kathleen, she is still one of the best producers in the history of film production. She is, what is the role of a producer? To get money, to make the film actually happen, to coordinate with all of the people involved, to make sure that everything is funded and is where it needs to be. All the things you need are in place. You have all the people that are there. Everyone's getting paid, and you are the financial guru of the film. Then there's a director that's on the ground that's actually literally like the camera work and making sure all the angles are right, overseeing like all of the effects and all that stuff, and the scripts, and going over with everyone. There's people that are involved and in charge of different things. Now, I think Kathleen Kennedy's downfall was that she injected herself into the creative process of Star Wars as opposed to being the producer and kind of keeping a little bit more of the Star Wars creative into the hands of more qualified individuals like, say, Dave Filoni. But in this situation, I think that they may have learned their lesson. Time will tell. As soon as December comes around, we're going to see in Star Wars Episode 9 what they're doing, because it says here in this article, guys, I'm not just ranting here. This is all involved with what I'm talking about here. So even though it might sound like I'm rabbit trailing, I'm not. This is actually part of this story here, because they're getting ready to wrap up Episode 9. What that means is that the Skywalker saga from 1 to 9 will be closed. Now, they're looking at here discussing other stories, other journeys that exist before, after, and maybe even during the Skywalker timeline, but they're looking at venturing into new eras, new timelines, and not like a splinter universe, but before and after what we know about Star Wars. And we're talking about maybe going into the Old Republic, or creating something entirely new after that, or maybe creating stories that are involved in sectors of the galaxy, sectors of the universe in Star Wars that don't overlap, that maybe are not involved with what is going on between the Republic and the Empire. Maybe it's bigger than that. Maybe it's further than that. Maybe it's different. It could be a number of different things. But let's go ahead and read the rest of this, because this one I do want to read for you guys. Feige has discussed a foray into the Star Wars universe in a late summer meeting with Kathleen Kennedy and studio co-chairman Alan Horn and Alan Bergman, sources say. In response to a query from THR, Walt Disney Studios co-chairman and chief creative officer Horn said, "We are excited about the projects Kathy and Lucasfilm team are working on, not only in terms of Star Wars, but also Indiana Jones and reaching into other parts of the company, including Children of Blood and Bone with Emma Watts and Fox. With the close of the Skywalker saga, which is episodes 1 through 9, Kathy is pursuing a new era in Star Wars storytelling, and knowing what a diehard fan Kevin is, it made sense for these two extraordinary producers to work on a Star Wars film together." And then it goes down here. Let's go ahead and skip down here to read this. Some see this movie as a prelude to a larger film and larger role with Feige within Lucasfilm. Sorry for the stuttering, guys. While others say it merely reflects the Marvel executives' passion for the franchise, a top Disney source says Kennedy remains in charge with no plans for any changes, meaning that Kevin Feige is not replacing Kathleen Kennedy. He is collaborating with her. He is joining her as a co-producer, a team member, a partner with Kathleen Kennedy. And I think this is good, because Kathleen Kennedy is really, 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 really good at getting films produced. She's one of the best, most successful. Her track record with films is almost perfect, except for, I would say, The Last Jedi and Solo. That's it. I mean, everything else has been pretty darn successful. She doesn't really make stinkers. The only ones she's made so far, I think, were The Last Jedi, which is by no stretch a stinker. It just pissed fans off. It's very controversial. Made tons of money. It did exactly what the film was supposed to do, except it pissed the fans off, and so did she. And then also, Solo, I think, was a misstep. I enjoyed Solo. You guys have probably seen my review. I like Solo. I really did like Solo. No one else went to see it. I was like the only guy that was basically in that theater. There was like me and 2 others. My buddy that went with me, and actually, no, 3 others. It was my buddy, my wife, and another. And that was it. And nobody went to see that. It was a flop because it was ignored. People asked for Obi-Wan, and they got Han Solo that was not Harrison Ford. And that's not what anyone wanted, especially coming off the heels of Han Solo's death. So that sucked. But the idea sucked. The movie was actually pretty good. So if you didn't get a chance to see it, maybe give it a shot. I don't know. I'm not going to tell you what to do. But here we go. It says here, Disney source Kennedy remains in charge with no plans of any changes. One knowledgeable source says Feige has told a major actor that there's a specific role he would like that person to play if and when he makes the move. So apparently there is an actor that Kevin Feige is close to that he has said, look, if we're going to do Star Wars, I'm bringing you in. I can't pretend to know who this might be, although if I could wager it's anybody, I would bet it's probably Robert Downey Jr. again. It's probably going to be RDJ, because if you're going to start a new Star Wars thing and you need an actor that maybe hasn't been in Star Wars before and you need someone that's close to Kevin Feige, I would imagine it's probably going to be someone like Robert Downey Jr. Maybe, who knows? It could be someone he's worked with before in the past, like Hugh Jackman, or it could be someone he's worked with in the past before, maybe directly or indirectly, like Tobey Maguire. Who knows? We don't know. And I'm not going to pretend to know either, because those are just wild, hopeful guesses. And then it says here, however, with Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker set to hit theaters December 20th, it is understandable that Disney would like to keep as much about the future of the franchise under wraps as possible. So, we're not going to hear anything until after Skywalker in December comes out. So Skywalker, otherwise known as Episode 9, is meant to be the final installment of the series that was first launched by George Lucas in 1977. It is also meant to win back fans after The Last Jedi, the last sequel trilogy entry, meaning the Star Wars The Last Jedi, divided audience, even though the reviews, meaning critical reviews, were largely positive, because fan reviews sucked. And the film grossed $1.3 billion worldwide, which means it's not a flop, which means it doesn't suck financially. It was a major win for Disney. The problem was that it pissed off the fan base and no one went to see Solo because of it. And then you have this. Under Feige's leadership, Marvel has had an extraordinary run of its hits, including 4 of the top 10 movies ever released. So Feige, in the last 10 years, has gone from being a great producer to arguably the best producer on God's green earth. Like, who else has had a track record like he has? Almost no one. There's only I think maybe two other people that I can think of that off the top of my head that I know of that are really, really good producers. One, Kathleen Kennedy. You might not like it, but she has an incredible track record. All the old Indiana Jones, she's responsible for those. I believe she also did E.T. You know, she's like, there's a ton of films that she's done that are classics that everybody adores and loves. And including Star Wars. A lot of the Star Wars films she has done as well. She's responsible for all those. And then there's also Jon Favreau, who has also been a co-producer on almost all of the MCU films, which is clearly massively lucrative. It's the same track as Kevin Feige for the most part, but Jon Favreau is also a very wise producer, investing in projects that have been very beneficial. So I will say those guys, very, very talented, and all 3 of them are now working with Star Wars, so that's awesome. And then, now we have this. So then it just talks about more news, just talking about their history together, how much money they make, truckloads of dollars, lots of stuff. So you guys go ahead and check this out on your own time. I think that's all we really need to cover in this article. Other than, obviously this last part's kind of important. So it says here, while Disney and Lucasfilm have scaled back development for Star Wars movies in part due to the poor performance of Solo, it is still working on future movies. Both The Last Jedi helmer Rian Johnson and Game of Thrones showrunners D.B. Weiss and David Benioff are working on feature projects set in the Star Wars universe, and with Disney ramping up its streaming service Disney Plus, Lucasfilm will be an important piece of the puzzle. Sorry guys, a little tired. It says Jon Favreau's live-action Star Wars space western, The Mandalorian, is set to premiere November 12th, and a Rogue One prequel series is in the works, as is an Ewan McGregor-led Obi-Wan Kenobi series. So, I'm actually really hopeful. Are you guys hopeful for the Star Wars franchise? I was hopeful when Disney Plus announced their slate. I was hopeful when we saw the first trailer for The Mandalorian. Even when they announced that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni were working on The Mandalorian, I was already like, you know what, guys? Hold your horses on the hate train. This is going to be legit. I'm telling you, Dave Filoni I trust. And Dave Filoni you trust, and Dave Filoni we trust. Dave is the man, and so is Jon Favreau. Jon Favreau is no slouch, and he's a major Star Wars fanatic, and he's an old school Star Wars fanatic. He's not going to let anything tarnish the work. I mean, obviously, time will tell. We're going to see that on November 12th when everyone gets Disney Plus and we start to subscribe to the Disney Plus Disney streaming service, and we're all watching The Mandalorian week to week. That's going to be crazy. It's going to be fun, but we'll see how that comes out. It could be hot trash. I don't know. But it could also be the best Star Wars experience of our lives. So we don't know. It could be anywhere in between that. What do you guys think about this? This is a lot of news to cover. I'm sorry that it took so long. I'm going to go ahead and talk about the comment section now. So I'm going to go ahead and jump to a new screen because I want to. I'm gonna let this be the screen, obviously, because it's going to be my merch. You guys have already seen the slideshow down at the bottom. I don't mean to keep plugging this, but I'm going to leave it on this screen for editing's sake, and then I can talk about what's happening in the comments. So let's go ahead and jump over here and take some of these comments. Anthony Manzano, what's up, my man? He says, hi, Daniel. Well, hi, Anthony. How are you doing? It's great to have you back here. I know you've been paying attention to these streams a lot. I really appreciate that. Thank you for coming back. It says here, Daniel, doesn't it make sense to have or let me see if I'm reading this correctly. I want to see if I got this. I want to see if I can pop this in a different direction because I'm not getting all the comments here. Just let me do this 1 second. Bear with me, guys. Okay, sorry about that. All right, now I've got the full comments. It says here, Daniel, doesn't make sense to have Armie Hammer as Superman because he's in his late 30s to early 40s, and Robert Pattinson is in his late 20s to early 30s. Now, I will say this. That would make sense if this casting was supposed to be for Robert Pattinson's Batman universe, but I don't think that's the case. What we got this covered is rumoring, I believe was supposed to be, let me see if I can pull it up here. It says here, yeah, it says the embodiment of hope, who recently has been played by Henry Cavill in the DCU, has drawn up a lot of controversy. Zack Snyder's take on the character. Following the critical and financial failures of both Batman and Superman, Cavill's time with the capes appear to be on the chopping block. If it's talking about Cavill backing out, they're not talking about Robert Pattinson having a Superman. They're talking about Ben Affleck's missing Batman Superman having a Superman. So Henry Cavill was never in the Robert Pattinson timeline. If they're saying that someone's stepping up to take his place as Superman in the DCEU, it's not for Robert Pattinson. It's for whoever is going to replace Ben Affleck. That's a DCEU. That's Justice League Superman. But if they are indeed trying to say that this person, Armie Hammer, will be taking the mantle of Superman inside of the Matt Reeves Batman universe, then Henry Cavill is still Superman for sure. Well, as nothing's changed, as that would be the more accurate thing to say. Nothing has changed because it would not involve his Superman whatsoever. It's a separate universe. So that to me is not, it's a non-issue. So I think with that, you don't have to be worried. Henry Cavill is, as we know, still Superman until we hear otherwise from an actual credible source. And it wouldn't really make a difference really if he was 30s or 40s, because Kryptonians, they age a lot slower anyway. You can make the argument that he gets to his maturity level of 40 and then doesn't age beyond that for a while, or you could just have a very young looking 40-year-old. I mean, Armie Hammer doesn't look that old. He looks like he's probably 35 at the most, I think. I don't think he looks that old. And he could just shave his face and play a much younger Superman, 30, even 28. He could pull that off. A very jacked 38-year-old, but nonetheless, 28. I mean, and so yeah. So I think the age range could be played around with a little bit. There's makeup and prosthetics and all kinds of stuff you could do to just tweak that. Even CGI. Although I would not want DC playing with CGI on Superman again. God forbid we get that mustache, or that like false lip. So here we go. Next up, Anthony Manzano says, Daniel, I think the perfect person to play the Riddler in the new Batman movies is James McAvoy, and my new Catwoman is Zoe Kravitz, and my new Harvey Dent is Matt Bomer. Matt Bomer would be savage as Harvey Dent. I would really like that. Now, if we're talking about the new Batman, Robert Pattinson, yes, we need someone that's a little bit younger. I would typically be picking someone like Sam Witwer, although he does look younger, but he is now in his 40s, maybe a little bit older than we would want for Two-Face that's supposed to be the comrade, the bro, or the former bro of Bruce Wayne. So in that situation, I think you're right. I think that someone like Matt Bomer is a great choice for that. Maybe even someone like Ian Somerhalder, but I think my first choice there would have been your pick, Matt Bomer. So in that case, yes. And for the Riddler, I agree. James McAvoy should play that role. If not him, I would say maybe someone like I'm forgetting his name right now. What's the name? Neil Patrick Harris. Neil Patrick Harris or James McAvoy are great choices. I like both of them. Maybe even Jesse Eisenberg. Repurpose him. If they got rid of Ben Affleck as Batman, they can get rid of Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor and put him in the spot of the Riddler. I think he was born to play the Riddler. He should have played the Riddler. And I think we need more redheads playing redheads. Enough of this, like, changing redheads from redheads to not redheads. I'm sick of that. Like, all these redheads in comic books are disappearing. Like, they already got Hawk Girl, and I know that you can say that, oh, they already changed them in the comics and stuff, but redheads are the ultimate minority in the U.S. And in most of the world, redheads are the minority of the world. I believe in the U.S. they make up something like 1.2% of the population, as opposed to, like, you could say, oh, there's not enough representation for Asians or African Americans, which I agree with. I think there needs to be more of that too. But in those circumstances, there's, like, you're talking about 11%, 16% versus 1.2% being gingers. I think we need to keep the gingers intact, man. I think you're picking on the wrong one. Change some, like, black-haired white dudes to other things, as opposed to the redheads. Like you talk about, like, you know, they already got Starfire. The MCU already replaced Mary Jane Watson for Michelle Jones, even though it's not the same character. They effectively replaced the role of the character that she plays. And so then, you know, you talk about Wally West. You talk about Iris West, obviously the sister. You talk about Hawk Girl. There's who else? Who else am I thinking of? I made a list, but I'll get back to that later. I think we need to keep redheads, and that includes the Riddler. I think the Riddler needs to be played by a redhead, in my opinion. So that would be very nice. And Zoe Kravitz, I think she'd do a great job as Catwoman. Let's go with that. And then he says, Anthony Manzano says, Daniel, the New 52 Comics, how old are Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Tim Drake, and Damian Wayne? I'm not 100% certain about that. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Damian Wayne in the New 52 is something like 14 or maybe 16 at the most. I think Tim Drake is supposed to be like 18 or 17, and Jason Todd, I believe, is like 23, and Dick Grayson's like 28 or something, maybe 30. It's hard to tell. I don't know the actual numbers, but in relation to one another, that's the stacking order. We all know that it goes, you know, it goes Damian is the youngest, then Tim, then Jason, then Dick. But I believe that's approximately the age. And again, don't quote me on that, but yeah, I'll have to do some research after the video. So that's pretty much what I wanted to say about that. And then if I'm saying this right, it says Ian's Danix says hello, and I say hello to you too, good sir. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I know you guys stuck around for quite some time. There's links to all of this in the description below, so you guys can do the homework yourself, have some fun, be as some of us say, Bereans, people who do their homework, and check these out. I want you guys to not take my word for it. I want you guys to say, is that true? Did he really say that? And then go there and look it up. Do the research, because that's where all this fun happens. And then you can actually be equipped with the knowledge and say, you know what? No, I will not be someone who just reads the headlines. I get into the meat of the story. So that's pretty much all I wanted to say. Now, I wanted to show you guys some of the new designs that are on my T-Soul merch store. Before we close out with this, I wanted to share with you guys this. So I've got some Super Nerd shirt pockets. I've got Batfan. I've got some classic stuff of Legend with the red, blue, and the purple, so you guys can have that. And it's not just cell phone cases, but I wanted to show you the cell phone cases because it kind of shows how it grabs onto that. I've got my Joker Hall of Fame here. Joaquin Phoenix's Joker's up here. Taron Killam, I bet you didn't know, played him. Jared Leto, Heath Ledger, Mark Hamill, Cameron Monaghan in doubles. And we have Zach Galifianakis, Aaron Schwenke. We've got Creed Bratton from The Office. If you guys saw that episode, that was a haunting episode. Jack Nicholson is my Joker. Also, Roger Stoneburner. I bet you guys didn't know that he teamed up with Mark Hamill to play that role. And there's also Mark Frost, Cesar Romero, Anthony Ingruber, and Curtis Armstrong, along with tons of stuff of legend. And again, guys, these are just the phone cases for 20 bucks. There's tons of other merchandise lines that we have. Pins for $2 if you guys want to spend a little bit less but still support the channel. That's one way that you can do that. I really appreciate it because it helps keep me funded, keeps me supported, and I really appreciate that. It means a lot to me. And then if you guys buy any of this stuff, make sure to post it on social media. Use the hashtag TSOL merch and tag me in it. That way I can repost that and thank you guys properly because it means a lot to me that you guys support me on this. And then also, here's my Stuff of Legend designs. I've got black with white outline, white with black outline, so that you can get different designs, and it can look better on different kinds of shirts, either lighter colors or darker colors, that sort of thing. Classic Fan of Much Fiction with a straight out of Compton type of look. We've got all kinds of like Fan Casting Summit as designed and donated by Daft Detective, and you guys should follow him. He's great. Then also Batman Hall of Fame. We've got lots of Batman action over here, and a Batfan t-shirt design as well. And again, guys, it's not just t-shirts, but we've got the Joker Hall of Fame I've already gone over. We also have the Superman Hall of Fame. Who is your favorite Superman actor? Is it Brandon Routh? Is it Gerard Christopher? Did you know that Channing Tatum played Superman? Did you know that Bill Murray played Superman? I want to hear from you guys on this and tell me who your favorite is as well. Also, if you guys are into Power Rangers, holy dang, do I got some Power Rangers for you. I've got tons and tons of Power Rangers content. Mighty Morphin, Zeo, Time Force. I've got Turbo, I've got Super Mega Force, I've got Wild Force, all kinds. Oh, and 2017 Power Rangers movie, all kinds of stuff. I got Dino Thunder, you name, and also Beast Morphers is the new stuff. So I've got tons of Beast Morphers content on here with Cybervillains Blaze and Roxy as well, and the Power Rangers Fanatic shirts that you can get here as well. So I'll end up showing you guys with just some of this stuff. That way you guys can see here. This is kind of like a massive shameless plug that I wanted to show you guys because it means a lot if you guys support the channel. And if you post, I will follow you back and I will repost your post if you use the hashtag TSOLMerch and if you tag me in that post. That way I can see it. Lots of cool stuff here, and like tank tops, crewneck sweatshirts, long sleeve t-shirts, hoodies, stickers, magnets, pins, tote bags. I know Halloween's coming up. You can get yourself a tote bag so you can carry around some Halloween candy, all that good stuff. It's going to take about 7 to 10 days to mail to you guys, so make sure you get that in before the week before Halloween. That way you can have that with you if you guys want that. Now, I appreciate you guys a great deal. There's always some awesome sales going on. Looks like we're in the last minute of these the price increase, but if you guys are watching live, just jump on over there and I'm sure that they'll give you some sort of discount. Plus, when you click in here, it asks if you will give them your email and it'll automatically give you a discount just for doing that. So lots of cool things, lots of things available for you, and it's a huge support to me. My content on YouTube is always free, but I wanted to make sure that you know, I can feed my family and I have an opportunity to make this workable, that I can actually continue to do this for you guys more regularly, and that you guys can take some of this home with you and feel proud that you are part of the Stuff of Legend family. So thank you guys. I appreciate you very much. You guys have a great rest of your night, and I will see you guys next time right here on The Stuff of Legend.